Welcome to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. Today I want to ask you, how do you stay engaged? Welcome back to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. My name is Kale Houser. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hey, I wanted to talk about a little bit today this concept of staying engaged, especially in the face when people keep kind of falling short of your expectations. Now, I personally tend to have a very high standard of expectation of other people around me. And I got to thinking as I've gone through various scenarios of just people falling short of that expectation, however realistic or unrealistic that expectation may be. And I started thinking about, how do we handle that? How do we handle when we have an expectation, and you may be the business owner or the leader in your business or your department, and you've got certain expectations for your team, and those may be absolutely reasonable expectations. They may be simple in nature. They may even be well communicated to your team that, hey, this is the standard, this is the expectation of behavior, of performance, of production, whatever metric you use when you're thinking about this engagement concept. But they keep falling short in some form, fashion, or other manner. They keep not meeting those expectations. And not to say that they're, obviously probably not doing it on purpose or anything of that nature, but there is some degree to where that expectation that you have set is not being met. And I wanted to ask, no matter how reasonable or simple that expectation is, how do we as leaders, how do you as your leader in your company, in your business, handle that? How do you keep staying engaged with that team, with that employee, with that person when that expectation continues to not be met, and that expectation of performance or interaction, again, whatever that may look like for you? And I will say my personality, just Kale Houser over the years and all the experiences that I've had, is that my go-to when this happens, especially when it happens repeatedly, is to kind of give up and shut down. I won't say that is, to my credit by any stretch of the imagination, but I have learned over the years, and especially with interacting with my wife and my family, is that my natural tendency when this happens to me, when I have an expectation of behavior or communication or performance or anything, and it to me unreasonably gets fallen short, then my tendency is to be like, you know what, I'll just do this myself, or I'm not going to keep engaging and trying to correct that behavior or modify that behavior. And I will say that's probably not the best approach for this type of scenario, especially if you're trying to build this amazing team. And I will say, by the way, if you are trying to build amazing teams and you're in that phase of hiring people, please make sure you're checking out kalehouserleadership.com. Download that free guide of my top 10 interview questions that you must be asking in your interviews in order to find and hire the right people. But that being said, how do we keep from shutting down? How do we keep from just taking on that attitude of, you know what, this isn't worth my effort, I'm just going to do it myself, or kind of worst case, lowering those expectations, especially if you firmly believe through, maybe it's by past evidence, past experience, or whatever, you firmly believe that expectation is absolutely correct and should be the norm or should be the expectation of performance in your organization. But how do we keep from just shutting down and disengaging from that scenario, from that employee that keeps falling back? And I started thinking about this, and originally I'm like, well, man, I'm not sure, because I've struggled with this a lot myself. But it really comes down to your priorities, okay? It's very much a personal matter of how much you can tolerate. How much, and I hate to use the word disappointment, because it's not really that. It's more just how much can you tolerate in the form of the performance level is not where you want it to be in your organization. How much can you tolerate this, quote unquote, subpar performance? Again, this could be with production, this could be with proficiency, this could be with communication, this could be with just showing up on time, all those types of things that go into how you measure productivity and performance of your employees, whatever your industry is in, because that's going to be different for everyone, whether you're working in a sales organization or you're, a plumber doing house calls or anything in between. It's all different. But how much you tolerate you being the business leader, me being the leader of my company, is directly related to our own belief system and our dedication to the goals we have set up for our company and for ourselves. Does that make sense? I'll say it again. How much we tolerate in the form of substandard or mediocre performance from others around us is directly proportionate to what we believe in ourselves and how much faith and how much dedication we put towards our own goals and the goals of our business or the goals of your department or the goals of your team. Does that make sense? Because if you are not committed to your goals, if you're not committed to your team and to your business, then you will absolutely accept subpar performance. You will absolutely accept a continual missing of the mark in the expectations you have laid out for your team. No different than yourself. If you continually fall short of your own performance and the own expectations you have for your life, then you obviously aren't very dedicated to the goals and the directions that you have, theoretically said you're wanting to go and be on. So I want you to take a second to kind of think about that. People around you, and this could be personal relationships, right? This doesn't just apply to relationships or business type of interactions or hierarchy. This could absolutely be personal relationships with your kids, with your spouse, with your brothers and sisters, moms and dads, cousins, aunts, uncles, all those types of things, friends. When you have set expectations of, more than likely probably behavior in that type of scenario, a personal scenario, and they kept getting fallen short or violated in some form or fashion, how much you tolerate that is a direct relation to what you believe in yourself and what you believe in your goals. So I won't beat that too much with a dead horse, but I hope you understand that point. As you go about this and you're trying to stay engaged, because you want to build an amazing team. You want to build an amazing company. You want to have the best department in your organization. But in order to do that, you must create this amazing team to help you do it. But how do you handle that probably inevitable scenario where, one or two, or worst case scenario, your whole team is like kind of subpar? Well, that's where you go back to the drawing board. You really have to get into that analysis mode of what are you doing to engage that team? What are you doing to motivate them, inspire them, keep them going? And that's all what Kale Houser Leadership is about. This is what we do. We help leaders create amazing teams with all the varying and moving parts that go into that. So make sure, please, if you are in that position that you're looking to grow your team and hiring people, hit kalehouserleadership.com, download that PDF, and absolutely reach out to me. I would love to talk to you about this. But the short answer for me, I know as I've learned how to stay engaged, is really, it's a conscious decision. Because my go-to, boom, shut down. You know what? Cut it off, move on. I can find somebody better. You're dead to me kind of an attitude. And that's not the answer. Absolutely not the answer. Unless, right, you've got that employee that is for cause and you maybe need to sever that relationship. But that's generally not what we're talking about here. So I want to make sure, please stay engaged. Please do that analysis of, hey, these are the priorities. You've addressed the issue or maybe something is causing it. Maybe it's something you don't even know about, some external factor, and you've addressed it and clearly articulated your expectations, whether it be behavior, production, proficiency, all those types of things, whatever your metrics are in your business. And then give people a chance. Give people a chance. Don't be that micromanager of like, I'm saying I trust you, but I don't really trust you. I talked about this in previous podcasts with the former commanders of mine. Like, hey, you're in charge, but you're not really in charge. Here's this project I want you to do, but you're not really in charge of doing that project because I'm going to micromanage because ultimately I don't trust you and I'm disengaging. And because of maybe past failures or anything that it's hard for you to move past that. So I would highly encourage you, give people a chance. Once you've explained, gone through the retraining as necessary, give people a chance to earn that back. Make sense? All right, everybody. No matter where you're at in the world, have a fantastic afternoon. Bye.